Hello, you're welcome to the chemistry series with Excellent Simplified, and today we are going to be looking at Introduction to Chemistry. Now, what is chemistry? When we talk about chemistry, chemistry is actually the study of matter, and its composition. So if you're asked what chemistry is simply the study of matter, and not just the study of matter but the composition of matter. What does that mean? Now, matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. Two things: that's mass and occupies space. Now look at this marker in my hand. This marker is actually a matter because it has mass and it occupies space. Now chemistry is looking at the study of this marker as a matter and its composition. So chemistry will be asking the question, this is marker. What does it contain? What is it made up of? Do you understand? So chemistry is actually the study of matter and the composition of matter. So if I'm studying this book here and what this book is made up of, the composition of this book, that is chemistry. If I'm studying this board and what this board is made up of, that is chemistry. So chemistry is simply the study of matter and its composition. Now the next thing we're going to look at is the branches of chemistry. The branches of chemistry. Now there are three main branches of chemistry, though we have other sub branches, but the three main branches of chemistry we have number one, we have physical chemistry. Number two, we have inorganic chemistry. And number three, we have organic chemistry. Now, take note that there are other branches of chemistry, such as biochemistry, environmental chemistry, and the rest. But these are the three main branches of chemistry. Now, for physical chemistry, we are looking at the theories and the principles behind chemical reactions. So in physical chemistry, we are just looking at the principles and the theories behind chemical reactions. That's simple put. For inorganic chemistry deals with chemistry of non-carbon compounds. It focuses mainly on metals and others, but non-carbon compounds. But I must mention that inorganic chemistry can also, in inorganic chemistry, we also study some simple carbon compounds like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. Do you understand? But majorly, inorganic chemistry is a study of non-metals. Why organic chemistry is a branch of chemistry that deals with the study of carbon compounds like hydrocarbons. So that's organic chemistry. So if you are asked the branches of chemistry, these are the three main branches of chemistry. So far we've looked at the meaning of chemistry and the three main branches of chemistry. The next thing we are going to look at is the scientific method. Now, have you ever asked yourself, what is science? Because you say chemistry is a study of chemistry is a branch of science, right? Chemistry is a branch of pure science. Now, if you look at science came from the Greek word "sciere", meaning to know. Now, I want to study this marker. I'm saying this marker for the first time, assuming. Now, the first thing is I'll be making some scientific guess. I'll be guessing, this thing looks like a pen. No, it's not a pen. This thing looks like maybe a tree. This one looks like. You'll be making some scientific guesses. Now, that scientific guess is what hypothesis is. But even before you hypothesize, now the first question there's a question that normally comes from this topic, this scientific method. They say the scientific method begins with what? The first thing is, before you even make this your hypothesis, there's something you must do. First, before I said this thing looks like pen or this thing looks like a tree, there was one thing I did. Before I said that, I observed. Right? So scientific method always starts from observation. So if I put observation as my first scientific method here, I'm actually very correct. So observation. Now I observe this, and after observing it, I'll now make scientific guess, and that scientific guess is what we call what? Hypothesis. So hypothesis is making scientific guess. So I'll say this is looking like a pen, this is looking like a tree. That's scientific guess, hypothesis. Now I will not stop there. The next thing is I want to actually prove if this is a pen or this is a tree. Hope you're following. I want to prove if this is a pen or a tree. The next thing I will do is to carry out experiments that will give me scientific backup for my hypothesis. So the next step in the scientific method is experimentation. Experiment. And what's the purpose of the experiment? To give me scientific backup for my hypothesis. Remember, hypothesis is just guess. I'm guessing. I observe, I guess, then I carry out experiments to give me a scientific backup. Now, after carrying out my experiment, then maybe I discover that this is a marker because, let's say this is a pen because it writes. After my experiment, I discover that this is a marker because it writes. I'll make that a theory. So the results from your experiment that have been proven true becomes a theory. But now somebody from somewhere else can come and say, no, this is not a pen. Or somebody from somewhere else can also come and say, yes, I've done this. It is actually a pen. Now, if my theory has been proven beyond every available evidence to be true, then the theory becomes a law. The theory becomes a law. So theory is actually a principle that has already been established beyond every available doubt. Now, first thing, I start with observation. After my observation, I make scientific guesses, hypothesis. After hypothesis, I carry out experiments to give me scientific backup. That's that. The next thing is theory. After I've carried out my experiment, gotten my results, then the theory is established. Then if the theory is proven beyond every available proof or evidence that is false, then it becomes a law. So that's that about the scientific method. All right, the next thing I will be talking about is uses of chemistry. Remember, the topic is introduction to chemistry, so we're introducing chemistry. What are the uses of chemistry? Remember, I said chemistry is what? The study of what? Matter and its composition. Now, what can we use chemistry for? What is chemistry used for in our daily lives? Now, chemistry. One, we can use chemistry in the food industry. We can use chemistry in the food industry. And what can you use the knowledge of chemistry in the food industry? You know, most of the things we are making in the food industry, they are actually products of chemical reactions. So with good understanding of chemical reactions, you can put this together, you know the chemical reactions that will take place to produce something. Also, with the knowledge of chemistry in the food industry, you can produce preservatives, something that can preserve your food and to stay for a long time. Preservatives can be used. Then I've said one, you can use it in the food industry. Number two, you can use it in clothing industry. So in the clothing industry, that's the textile industry, chemistry the principles of chemistry can be used to make fibers that can actually be produced in large quantities. Also, the knowledge of chemistry can be used to make explosives for military. So you can use the knowledge of chemistry to make explosives, like all this bomb and gun and the rest, gunpowder. The knowledge of chemistry can be used to make all those explosives. The next thing is housing. housing, medicine, you can use the knowledge of chemistry. So knowledge of chemistry can be applied in all these fields. Remember, chemistry is versatile. When we're talking about chemistry, we're talking about matter and its composition. So with the knowledge, we can actually apply it in housing. So the knowledge of chemistry is useful in the production of cement. You know, cement is actually a product of chemical reaction. You mix this, you mix this. Steel also can be used. Bricks, tiles can be produced from knowledge of chemistry. Then in medicine, chemistry can come in drug production. So drug production and mixing of drugs, side effect of drugs, you can use the knowledge of chemistry to do that. Now they said for everything that has advantage or uses, there is always a disadvantage, right? Now, just like chemistry has advantages, there are also adverse effects of chemistry, dangerous parts of chemistry. So let's look at the adverse effects of chemistry. Remember, this is introduction and this is the basics of chemistry. So the adverse effects, when they say adverse effects, actually the bad side of chemistry. Adverse effects of chemistry. Now, before I go on, give me one. What do you think? Give me one adverse effect of chemistry. What do you think can be a bad side of chemistry? Okay, that wasting time. Number one is corrosion of iron. Corrosion of iron. Corrosion of iron. So now when they talk about corrosion, sorry, let me spell it well. So corrosion of iron, that's rusting of iron, right? Rusting of iron. Now that's one adverse effect of chemistry. I'll try to keep this video as short as possible. The second one is pollution. You know, it is through chemical reaction and the rest that explosives are made, vehicles are made, and the rest. So the product of chemical reactions can cause pollutions like exhaust from vehicles and the rest can cause pollution, release of carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and the rest to the atmosphere. And when these gases are released in the atmosphere, they can cause harm to human health, like respiratory tract diseases and others. The next adverse effect of chemistry I'll talk about is drug abuse. Drug abuse. With the knowledge of chemistry, we've produced drugs, and these drugs in our society today are abused, like cocaine, heroin, and morphine and others. They are abused. Those are some of the adverse effects of chemistry. Basically, corrosion of iron is an adverse effect of chemistry. Rusting, that's rusting of iron. Pollution, drug abuse, those are some adverse effects of chemistry. Now let's take for example, you went to school, you studied chemistry, let's say secondary school or university, you studied chemistry. After studying chemistry, what next? What can you do with the knowledge of chemistry? So the last thing we are going to be looking at before we take past questions on this, because at the end of all my videos we are going to be taking past questions on the topic we've covered. The last thing we are going to be looking at is careers in chemistry. Careers in chemistry. So this one, pay great attention. Careers in chemistry. If you study chemistry, what can you be? Number one, can be an agricultural scientist. You can be an agricultural scientist. So as an agricultural scientist, what can you do with the knowledge of chemistry? What can you do with the knowledge of chemistry? So as an agricultural scientist, the knowledge of chemistry, you can actually use it to make pesticides, fertilizers, weedicides, all those things that can kill weeds, all those things that can kill pests. You know that if I mix this chemical with this chemical, it can kill insects. If I mix this one with this one, it can make plants grow very well. So you can do that as an agricultural scientist with the knowledge of chemistry. Now you can also be environmental health officer. Environmental health officer. Environmental health officer, to use the knowledge of chemistry to remedy the environment. The next one, medicine. You cannot do medicine without the knowledge of chemistry. You cannot do medicine. In fact, those of you that by the time you get to university, those of you that are not in university yet, by the time you get to university, you discover that as a medical student, you do chemistry till you graduate. Maybe not as a course. In your first year, second year, third year, you'll be doing chemistry. As you go on, you'll be doing applying chemistry. So chemistry is an integral part of medicine. So medicine is one career opportunity from the knowledge of chemistry. The next one is pharmacy. Mixing of drugs, production of drugs, production of drugs, and the rest. So with the knowledge of chemistry, you can actually understand drug interaction, how to produce drug, and all others. Now you can be a veterinary surgeon, knowledge of chemistry, veterinary surgeon with the knowledge of chemistry. Now these are just few career opportunities in chemistry. All right, so basically that's that. We've looked at the meaning of chemistry, the branches of chemistry, the scientific method, uses of chemistry, adverse effect of chemistry, and career opportunities in chemistry. Now we're going to proceed to past questions on this topic. Now this is a chemistry series, so I'm starting from the very first topic in chemistry, and the aim is to finish all the topics in chemistry. I will arrange these videos in a playlist, so once you finish the first topic, you can move on to the next topic and to the next topic. And the good thing about it is that all the topics will be having past questions at the end. So after teaching, I will always fix past questions at the end of every topic. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please click on the subscribe button, because with this series you are going to be grounded. I'm not just going to do this for chemistry, but I'll also be doing it for biology, physics, mathematics. So the 4 core science subjects, I'll be doing this series to cover from the beginning to the end. Click on the subscribe button and drop something for me in the comment section. If you love this video, if you learned something, let me know in the comment section. If you want any observation, something I should improve on, drop it in the comment section also. For now, let's move on to the past question. Question number 1. What is the best definition of chemistry? The answer is B. The study of matter, its properties, and how it changes. Question number 2. What branch of chemistry focuses on carbon-containing compounds? The answer is C. Organic chemistry. Question number 3. Which branch of chemistry studies the rate and mechanism of chemical reactions? The answer is A. Physical chemistry. Question number 4. Biochemistry is best described as the study of. The answer is C. Chemical processes in living organisms. Question number 5. What is the first step in a scientific method? The answer is C. Observation. Question number 6. Which of the following best describes a hypothesis? The answer is C. A testable, educated guess. Question number 7. A scientific investigation. The purpose of conducting an experiment is to. The answer is C. Test the hypothesis. Question number 8. Which of the following is not a common use of chemistry in daily life? The answer is C. Worship practices. Question number 9. Which area of human health benefits most directly from chemistry? The answer is B. Medicine.
Question number 10. One of the major negative effects of chemistry is? Answer is B. Environmental pollution. Question number 11. Chemical weapons and toxic gases are examples of? The answer is C. Harmful outcomes of chemistry. Question number 12. The person who studies how drugs interact with the human body is called a? Answer is B. Pharmacologist. Question number 13. Which of these careers requires knowledge of chemistry? The answer is C. Chemical engineer. Last question, question number 14. A chemist working in an oil company is most likely a dash. Drop your answer in the comment section.